In 2007, the World Health Organization and the United Nations Task Force on HIV released a policy statement on male circumcision. They state that the efficacy of male circumcision in reducing female-to-male transmission of HIV has been proven beyond reasonable doubt and recommend that male circumcision should be promoted as an additional strategy for the prevention of HIV infection in heterosexual men. Since then, numerous studies have been conducted around the world to gauge the opinion of male circumcision among men and women in various countries, which we will be reviewing here. In the USA, the CDC conducted a study in 2011 which involved sending a questionnaire in regards to circumcision to Americans along with up-to-date information about the benefits of circumcision, like a threefold reduced risk of contracting HIV and reduced chance of contracting some other STDs, virtual elimination of the risk of contracting penile cancer, and reduced risk of contracting urinary tract infections and the unlikely but possible complications of circumcision, almost all of which are excessive bleeding and minor infections. Over 95% of circumcised men responded that they planned on pursuing circumcision for their son if they had one. And 70% of uncircumcised men responded that they planned on pursuing circumcision for their son if they had one. Over 50% of respondents said that information on circumcision's ability to protect from HIV and other STDs as well as protect from penile cancer and urinary tract infections increased the likelihood of pursuing circumcision for their son. Almost all respondents that responded saying they believed in circumcision's ability to reduce STDs and that circumcision was a low-risk procedure said they would pursue circumcision for their son. In total, only 12% of respondents said they would probably not pursue circumcision if they had a son. Another study conducted among Hispanic immigrants in Miami briefed the participants on up-to-date information on the benefits of circumcision, as well as the risk associated with circumcision. Approximately one-third of the Hispanic men involved were homosexual, and the prevalence of circumcision among these men was under 20%. 50% of uncircumcised men expressed willingness to undergo circumcision for themselves. The men reported the main reason being improved hygiene followed by reduced risk of contracting HIV. The other half of the uncircumcised men felt the change involved with undergoing circumcision would be too great for them. 45% of the women stated they preferred circumcised men, 35% had no preference, and 15% preferred uncircumcised men. Over 80% of men and women said they wanted their son to be circumcised after receiving information on circumcision. A study conducted in 2012 by Jamaican epidemiologists and doctors tried to assess how the Jamaican public views circumcision. The study included 549 men ages 19 to 54 from Western Jamaica. The overall prevalence of circumcision was 14% in this population. After receiving up-to-date information on the risk and benefits of circumcision, almost half of uncircumcised men wished to undergo circumcision for themselves. Over 90% of circumcised men wanted their son to be circumcised, and over 70% of uncircumcised men wanted their son to be circumcised. 82% of uncircumcised men who believed the World Health Organization's conclusion that circumcision helps prevent HIV infection wanted their son to be circumcised. A 2008 study in South Korea aimed at gauging doctors' views of circumcision found that 91% of urologists were in favor of routine circumcision. A large survey from 2001 involving 2,700 men of age 20 in South Korea asked them about their beliefs about circumcision. 75% believed that circumcision was necessary, with most of the men citing that superior penile hygiene was the main reason that made it necessary. 3% of men did not feel that it was necessary. The circumcision rate was found to be 78%, with 11.5% of men planning on undergoing circumcision in the near future. The majority of men underwent circumcision during their teenage years, with less than 8% of men getting circumcised before the age of 10. This study came before there was rigorous medical evidence that circumcision greatly reduced the risk of contracting HIV and other STDs. Studies in the USA, Jamaica, China, and the Dominican Republic have found that up-to-date information on the risk and benefits of circumcision increases the likelihood of men wanting to undergo circumcision for themselves and their sons. In over 50% of men. A more recent study, from 2014, in South Korea at a medical clinic kept track of the circumcision status of 132 consecutive men who entered the clinic. The majority of men were between 17 and 30, and a circumcision rate of over 90% was found, possibly indicating that men have an even better opinion of circumcision since 2001. Another survey from China in the city of Urumqi published in 2015 was conducted among 3,600 schoolboys ages 6 to 15 along with their parents to determine the prevalence and views of circumcision in this demographic. Although just around 10% of older Chinese adults are circumcised, 46.2% of the schoolboys were circumcised, with the average age of circumcision being 8.3 years old. After receiving information from Chinese doctors on circumcision, over 50% of parents with uncircumcised sons said they would like their sons to undergo circumcision. A study among 238 uncircumcised men in the Dominican Republic was conducted to see this population's perception of circumcision. Previous studies cited in the article indicated that just 14% of men from the Dominican Republic were circumcised. Prior to an information session on the risk and benefits of circumcision, 29% of men said that they would like to undergo circumcision, but after the information session that number increased to 67%, with a higher percentage of younger men wanting to undergo circumcision. Also, 74% of men reported that they would want their son circumcised after hearing information on the risks and benefits of circumcision. As in other studies, the majority of men who did not want circumcision for themselves or their sons did not believe the World Health Organization's position that circumcision reduces the risk of contracting HIV and other STDs. Another study was conducted in 2013 among healthcare providers in the Dominican Republic. 93% of the healthcare providers believed that circumcision had benefits, and 95% said they would offer circumcision if it were promoted as an HIV and STD prevention method. A survey among 800 mothers with sons in Mysore, India was conducted to see their views on circumcision. The mothers received information from an Indian doctor about the benefits of circumcision, like a threefold reduced risk of contracting HIV and reduced chance of contracting other STDs, virtual elimination of the risk of contracting penile cancer, and reduced risk of contracting urinary tract infections and the unlikely but possible complications of circumcision, almost all of which are excessive bleeding and minor infections. After receiving the information, 81% of mothers of uncircumcised sons said they would definitely want their son to be circumcised if it was available in a hospital setting and free of charge. 7% of mothers said they would probably want their son to be circumcised. 9% were unsure. And just 1% of mothers said they probably would not or definitely would not consider circumcision for their son. 87% of women previously not planning on having their son circumcised said that being informed that circumcision reduces the risk of HIV infection changed their mind. A survey conducted in South Africa found that the circumcision rate for men of age 18 to 19 increased from 61.2% in 2010 to 87.5% in 2015. In addition, 85% of uncircumcised men ages 18 to 49 said that they wished to be circumcised. Wide-scale promotion of circumcision had been going on in South Africa, and most men knew it reduced a man's risk of contracting HIV. A study in 2014 was conducted in South Africa among 1,778 pregnant mothers to assess the acceptability of newborn male circumcision. Nurses and counselors who were trained to provide infant circumcision counseling as well as carry out the procedure briefed the mothers on the risks and benefits on circumcision. The study found 83% of mothers wanted their son to be circumcised after the counseling. 41.3% who did not agree to circumcise their son said they needed to discuss circumcision further with other family members. And 15.9% who did not agree to circumcise their newborn son wanted their son's circumcision to take place in a more religious and culturally appropriate setting. In total, less than 10% of mothers did not want their newborn son circumcised. A survey was conducted among parents in Saskatchewan, Canada at a parenting class in 2013. As shown, 90.5% of families where the husband was circumcised planned on having their child circumcised if it was a son, and just 5.3% planned on not having their child circumcised if it was a son. This study came without any briefing on up-to-date information on the risks and benefits of circumcision, which in other studies in the USA, China, Dominican Republic, and South Africa found more than 50% of people were more inclined to undergo circumcision for themselves and their sons after receiving up-to-date information on the risks and benefits of circumcision.